When it comes to renovations, it's important to cater for your own needs and lifestyle, but similarly, you should keep your eye on the future and consider the needs and wants of future buyers. So today, we've brought in Carla Haddan, partner and lead agent at Place Bulimba, who is an expert on selling and buying. I'm going to ask Carla to share her insights about renovations and the selling process. Welcome to the show, Carla. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's get started with the key question, which is how do we renovate a home that suits our purposes for why we're living in it, but also suits that future buyer and ensures we get that money back?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the number one question we do get asked at the listing table. And sometimes we're invited into homes well before they're ready to go. So I would always say start with the kitchen. What state is the kitchen in? That would be my number one renovation if the home needs it. I think lots of people look, be it the male or the female in the family. If people love to cook or they have a big family, it tends to be the hub of the home where people gather. I think the kitchen would be my number one area to renovate.
It's interesting, isn't it? Kitchen is always where the heart of the home is, I think. All right, that's a good start. And of course, we need a functioning kitchen while
Absolutely.
We're living there. What are some of the other things that buyers look for? You've said kitchens are the number one thing. What else are buyers looking for?
I would probably then go to bathrooms. I think bathrooms then become an expensive renovation cost. And I think if you can have a really nice, neat bathroom in your home, or if you have several bathrooms in the home, I would look to do those first.
Okay, all right. And I think consistency is important, isn't it? Sometimes we see people doing a bathroom in a particular colour and style, and then there's some inconsistency. Is that feedback you hear from buyers?
Absolutely. I think the number one thing again would be to keep it. I love white. White is easy, it is clean, it is easy to keep clean. And again, most people like a white bathroom. It's definitely the way to start.
That's a great segue to a question that I think I know the answer to, but sometimes as human beings, we can fall into the trap of doing things that please us. So let's talk about that. I'm sure you've encountered some horror stories over the years. You've been doing this for over 20 years now. What are some of those pitfalls you've seen where people are renovating to suit their own taste?
Look, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We all want to live in our own homes and we want to be comfortable and we want to have the things around us that we love and the look that we love. But if you do want to go down that track at some point and sell that home, it is going to be divisive with people. So maybe choose one room that becomes your room and your look. But if you do go to sell, I would look. I've seen wallpapers, I've seen different colors, I've seen mismatched flooring of timber and lino and carpet, and there is no flow. So again, with flooring, I mean, having mismatched different floors, it makes the house look smaller. So if you can have one actual consistent flooring, it is going to make your house look bigger, and it's going to look clean and tidy. Okay,
that's great advice. And I think something like paint is relatively easy. If you want to go crazy with your paint colour, maybe that's something you can do to make it a little bit more
so much easier to remove and paint over when the time comes to sell. People do want to imagine walking into a home and seeing their own families living there. I would absolutely keep every room the same colour. It sounds so boring, but you have to look at it with buyer's eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Carla, you touched on expense. So one of the risks associated with renovations is overcapitalising. We see people getting carried away and then being disappointed when they can't recoup their money. So what's your view on that, and how do you avoid that pitfall?
I think that's probably why it's important to get an agent in earlier than when you're ready to sell. You need to know the target market, who is going to be the buyer of your home, and looking at, again, through their eyes, what do they want to see? And an agent in your area will be able to give that advice of what they're looking for, and that's a good place to start, as opposed to your interpretation or opinion of who the buyer is going to be. I think it's important to get an experienced agent through.
Great. And while we're on the topic of making sure that you are engaging a professional, namely a real estate agent, what about the importance of using qualified tradespeople, people who are builders, proper licensed electricians and plumbers? We've all heard those stories about the DIYers. And sometimes instead of adding value, you're actually diminishing that value with a poor quality reno, right?
That's it. We all know when it comes to, again, listing a property, if we know that there's been renovations done, we're asking for all the certificates up front. We've had horror stories over the years where people have done it themselves, we didn't realise, and you come to the end and there's no certificates, there's a deck that's been added, the solicitor's picking it up, and it's becomes a nightmare for everyone. That's a long time ago in the early part of my career, but it's something that every agent should know to do, is to ask for these certificates. But there's definitely some dodgy trades out there, and it's really important. I think you make the money at the end if you have a quality build. We only have to look on the TV at night time on some of these current affairs shows to see how many bad stories there are out there.
Yeah, that's right. I think not only do those bad renovations look visually disappointing, but as you've just pointed out, they can also lead to potential injuries and of course risk for both the agent and the seller.
Yeah, absolutely.
So finally, we talk a lot about renovations and immediately we think about expensive renovations, but there are some things that we can do to renovate the property that don't need to cost the earth and can make a big difference, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I would look at lighting. Are all the lights, so many times I go into homes and the down lights are, some are yellow, some are white. Just having that consistency in lighting all the way through. Curb appeal. If people are turning up outside your home, is it a home that they want? They really want to go in and buy. So gardens are easy. That's something that you can do yourself, is popping down to the local Bunnings and grabbing some beautiful plants and making sure the turf is correct.
That's a great point. They're all things you can do that don't need to cost the world but can make such a difference. And I guess what I wanted to finish with, Carla, is just on that, that's the benefit of, I think, getting a professional real estate agent in to look at the property and walk through it with fresh eyes, because obviously we lose objectivity when we've been living in the home.
Yes. Yeah, no, look, unfortunately sellers do, and I'm sure we're the same every time we go to sell our homes as well. You do, we all tend to have a different opinion of our homes. But the other thing that agents have is at their disposal is their little black book of trades, and their trades that they have been using for years and recommending. And I think that's a great place to start, because having that a friend who's used someone is also handy. And but there's so many great local Facebook pages as well where you can also get a good opinion on who's doing a great job in the area.
Yeah, I think the value of that is inestimable. Real estate agents who have been doing this for a long time will have the little black book.
That's it.
And those tradespeople who are able to jump in and do the work quite quickly if you're needing to get a task done just before going onto the market. Some great tips and insights, Carla. Thank you so much for joining us today.
This has been fun.
Hi, I'm Antonia Mercorella, CEO of the Real Estate Institute of Queensland. Thanks so much for watching this video, which is a segment from PropIQ, a show produced by the REIQ to help provide insights into real estate for both people in the industry and consumers. I'd love it if you could subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the notification bell. That way you'll get notified whenever we post a new video. Speaking of new videos, you might want to check out this one next.